Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Wired to be Rich. If you're new here, welcome aboard because you have definitely landed in the right spot. This show is all about manifestation, money mindset, shifting your perspective, generating wealth, sometimes a little bit of trading and investing and becoming the best version of yourself through every season of life, not just the ones that are easy. And to my returning listeners, I genuinely want to give y'all a big thank you because October has been nuts, y'all. There has been a huge influx of followers, listeners, and downloads, and I'm so grateful because it's clear that people are really resonating with the conversations that we are having here. I love seeing this community grow, and it's only the beginning. We are actively working on gaining sponsorships right now and partnerships so we can scale the show, dive deeper into these topics, and keep evolving together. So today's episode, we're talking about something really real and really honest, y'all. Choosing yourself will absolutely make people hate you, and you need to do it anyway. Because when you stop living in fear and start living with sense, when you stop bending over backwards to make everybody else comfortable, and when you get serious about and surgical about what you want and what you deserve, everyone who doesn't align with that is either going to remove themselves or get mad when you remove them for you. So let's get right into it because the reality of outgrowing people, the power of true detachment, and while living with sense alignment and peace is the ultimate glow up into your next era is so important. So let's jump right on in.
She's not just a podcast host. She's a movement.
Manda Lea is teaching people how to break cycles and build real wealth, mentally, financially, and spiritually.
People all over the world are waking up to her message.
Wired to be Rich isn't just a podcast, it's a mindset shift.
She makes you believe again in yourself, in your power, and your ability to actually have the life you always known was meant for you.
Hi everyone, I'm Manda Lea, entrepreneur, speaker, and founder of Balance and Destiny, and this is Wired to be Rich. I'm realizing, especially the older I get, that choosing yourself sounds cute until you realize that it usually comes with losing a few people who really mean a lot to you. And some of y'all may, resonate with this because it's easy to say that you're putting yourself first when everything is calm, right? But when it's someone you love, a person who you used to date, a person that used to be your day one, that's when it stops being a quote and starts being a test. Because true alignment only comes by doing the hard things that I'm learning. And sometimes the hard thing is disappointing other people just to stop disappointing yourself. This past weekend, y'all, I'm be honest, I ended a relationship. What about a week ago? About almost 2 weeks ago. But especially this past weekend, we kind of met up and had a conversation. And the person that I was dating, to me, was incredible. However, towards the end, he became a bully. To me, at least. His words were very nasty and cruel, and I cried. But I finally stood up for myself and said, I am special. I am worthy. And just because you don't see it doesn't mean that it isn't true. I told him that your opinion of me isn't my reality, and I know who I am, and I know what I bring to the table. And at that time, that was me choosing myself in real time, y'all. Shaking, my heart was racing, crying, but choosing me anyways. And honestly, this pattern has shown up my whole life because back in college, me and a few friends, I remember we probably were freshmen or sophomores, but we all applied to Walmart. And Walmart called and hired me, and one of my friends didn't get the job. It was 3 of us that applied. I can't remember if me and the other girl got hired and one didn't, or however that was, but I know one of us in the trio, didn't get the job. And she teamed up with the other friend, and they asked me to tell Walmart that I was not going to take it, so they would call her instead. And then they got mad at me when I said no. Why would I do that? I needed that job just like they did. And that was one of the first moments that I realized choosing myself meant some people would take it personally. It happened again later with old friendships. I had friends and that I fell out with recently in last year. I had known them since I was 12, 13 years old who wanted me They would do little weird things like trying to get me to cheat on my ex-fiance, y'all, just to prove that I don't know. I honestly don't even know. But they would like say little jokes all the time about me cheating, or like we would all go out and they'd be like, okay, I'm going to have so and so come with his friends, and Amanda, don't be acting all stuck up. Talk to the friend. And I'm like, no, I'm in a relationship. So we started wanting different things. Okay. I wanted peace and growth, and they wanted, I don't know, fun, turn up, whatever that looks like. And the friendship just couldn't survive that. So I have another story back when I was 25 and I started my weight loss journey. And I was flying back and forth from Dallas to DC because I was in a relationship back then. It was new, we were long distance, and I was really prioritizing myself. I was reading, I was praying more, staying in. I was working multiple shifts, like extra shifts just to have extra money, eating better, at the gym all the time. Like I was really in my era, y'all. And I was still talking in the group chat consistently. We would definitely still go out, y'all. Like, don't get me wrong, we still went out. You can go back on my Facebook and check the pics for that time frame, but it just wasn't as much. And I was learning that discipline and focus takes my time. And those same friends told me that I was acting funny and that I had changed, that I stopped wanting to hang out with them as much. And they took it like super personal. And I used to always have to defend myself to them. And I'm like, y'all, it's not that I'm not like, it's not that I'm too busy for y'all. It's just, I have different priorities right now. Anywho, that started to be strained, but I kind of leveraged it and kind of got back in their good graces. But the fact that I even had to do all that is just unnecessary to me. But that's a different subject for a different day. But the truth was that I did change, and I was finally grounding myself. I was getting serious about who I wanted to be. But instead of being proud of me, they made me feel guilty for just simply growing. And that's been the theme. Me deciding that I want something different somehow makes other people feel like I'm better than them. But that's not what it is. They just feel inadequate standing next to the version of me that's evolving. And that's not my weight to carry. Every single time, y'all, that I have chosen myself, every single time, it has been hard, but it's never been wrong, because at the end of the day, I am the only one who has to live with my choices. And if people can't handle the version of you that loves yourself loudly and lives intentionally, then that's okay. Let them. The people meant for you, God will make sure that they stay through every season. Nobody's perfect, but you never owe anyone the smaller version of you just to make them comfortable. And don't ever let somebody else make you feel bad for wanting more. And, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned on top of that lately is the difference between living from intention and living from fear. And I mean really learning how to trust yourself even when things feel uncertain. Because living intentionally means you're being mindful about your next step. You're not rushing or reacting too quickly. You're saying to yourself, okay, this might be scary. It might stretch me, but deep down, I know that I'm going to be okay. You don't have to have every answer. You just have to trust that you'll figure it out as you go. Talking to myself here, I'm not going to lie, because that's what living with sense feels like. It's being calm enough to move forward even when your voice shakes and tells you not to take that chance. It's making the next move with faith that you can handle what comes next, even if you've never done it before. Now, living from fear, that's a little bit different, because sometimes fear disguises itself as logic. It tells you things like, wait, don't move yet. It's not the right time. What if you mess it up? And then you start rehearsing every worst case scenario before you've even taken a single step. Your body knows it's time to go, but your brain keeps throwing roadblocks your way, trying to protect you. And honestly, as human, y'all, fear isn't bad. It's a part of us. It's your mind's way of trying to keep you safe, even when safe means staying stuck. But the real growth comes from learning to hear that fear, acknowledge it, and move anyway. You can say, yeah, I'm scared. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I trust myself more than I trust my fear, because fear's job is to protect you. Your job is to lead you. And the truth is, everything that's ever changed my life started off feeling terrifying. And I'm saying that while still being scared of a really big decision, because fear is always going to be there. But every leap, every decision, every boundary that I made turned out to be the best decision I ever made. None of it felt certain at first, though, and none of it felt easy, and it still doesn't with the decisions that I'm weighing right now. But every single time I came out stronger, clearer, and more confident in who I am. And that's what I mean by living intentionally. It's not about pretending to be fearless. It's about learning to trust yourself enough to walk through fear with grace. To know that, yes, it's scary, but so what? You've been scared before and you've always found your way through. Peace doesn't come from having everything figured out. It comes from realizing you can trust yourself even when you don't. And that's the thing about trusting yourself. Trusting yourself doesn't stop once you finally take the leap. It follows you into what comes next because right now I'm in this really new and exciting season where everything feels like it's expanding, you guys. I can actually see the results of all that inner work starting to show up around me. And it's crazy because with Wired to Be Rich, I've started to notice a real uptick lately, y'all. Every day I open my analytics and there's just movement, it's growth. There's new listeners, there's little increases that might look small on paper, but they are huge to me because it means that this show is actually gaining traction. It's not just me in my studio apartment talking to a mic anymore. It's becoming something that's being heard by people in different places and different walks of life. I ran the numbers the other night and I realized I had an audience size of about 53 people in the UK. Obviously, my size here in the States are much, much, much larger. But I'm just saying, y'all, 53 people in a whole nother country that are listening consistently. And yes, I double checked to make sure that they weren't robots because sometimes we don't know. And honestly, there is no real way to know without IP addresses. But based on the listening time, these are actual people. That's a whole nother country hearing my words, connecting with ideas that we talk about here. Shout out to the listeners in the UK. If you are my listener over there or any other country for that matter, let me know. I literally want to get to know y'all. Okay. And this is massive because I'm not even a year in yet. It's proof that consistency is working and that intention pays off. This little project that I started out as a passion is slowly turning into something real. And in the middle of all that growth, there's still fear because new levels, y'all, as we know, come with new devils. And I'm literally preparing to move soon and I'm scared. I don't even know if I'm going to stay in the state that I'm in or I'm moving to the one that I've been looking at and I have a month to decide. Okay. But what I do know is I did not resign my lease. And I know that may sound like a small thing, like, okay, but I didn't re-sign my lease, y'all. So to me, that's everything. And it's proving to myself that I'm serious about my next chapter. It's me saying, okay, I trust myself enough to let go before I see what's next. And whether that's me moving to an entirely different state and starting anew, or just moving into a bigger space, regardless, I'm moving on to something better. And you know what? I want to switch gears because I want to stop talking about all that for a quick second because as I was writing this episode, this story or this memory just kept replaying back into my head. And I'm like, I need to incorporate this because I keep thinking about this one thing for a moment and it could resonate with me or it could resonate with you that's listening. But for some reason, like I said, as I was writing this episode, I kept thinking about this one night and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should tell this story because it's going to sit with somebody, or at the very least, it's just good information to have in case you ever end up in this same situation that I was in. So about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I can't really remember. I decided I was going to have my grown woman moment, y'all. I went to this bar in Dallas with some friends and a couple of my cousins, but I had got there early before everybody else. So I went to the bar. I sat down, I ordered myself a drink, and not just any drink. I said, let me get a dirty martini, extra dirty. Mind you, I had never had a dirty martini before. I didn't even know what it was, y'all. I didn't even know that it came with olives. I just heard people order them all the time, and I thought it sounded classy. So the bartender brings it over in this cute little martini glass. It was chilled, and it had olives sitting in there just looking at me. And I was like, I remember thinking, why are there olives in my drink? But I didn't say anything. I just grabbed it. I took a big old sip too. Not a little one, a full sip. Because for some reason, I just knew that I was going to like this drink, y'all. And immediately Immediately I thought, oh no, ma'am. Absolutely not. Y'all, it was so salty. It literally tasted like ocean water and regret mixed together. And I'm not even joking. But of course, in good old Manda Lea fashion, back then, I was too embarrassed to admit that I had no idea what I was doing or what I was ordering. So I tried to play it cool. I told the bartender, hey, I know I asked for it extra dirty. I just didn't know it was going to be this dirty. Can you make it a little lighter? Like, I kind of wanted to make it seem like it was his fault. Okay. For putting too much olive juice in it or something. But no, he brought it back and it was still nasty, y'all. Still nasty. Now, looking back, that whole moment cracks me because it says a lot. It says a lot about me. It says a lot about my experiences. Because sometimes in life, we really think that we want something so bad. And then when it finally shows up, it's not at all what we picture. It looks good and it sounds good, but it's strong. It's intense. And it's a lot. And I think that kind of goes for like life in general, if I'm being honest. But it can apply to so many areas: career, relationship, or in my case, moving to a new city. Like right now, I'm literally preparing to move and I keep asking myself the same question. Do I really want this? Because yes, it's exciting. I'm flying out soon to tour apartments actually, so I can get a good feel of the neighborhoods and try to see if this new state actually feels right. I'm trying to ground myself too because I'm also coming out of a breakup. So I'm like very emotional on multiple different fronts right now. So I'm trying to separate my emotions and kind of get serious and surgical about what it is that I truly, truly, truly want. But it's so terrifying. And I have to remind myself that the only way to find out is to try. And the same goes for love too. We say we want certain traits in a partner, but sometimes we have no idea what that really looks like in practice, right? We say we want a man who's assertive or a woman who's ambitious. And then we meet that energy and realize that, oh, okay, this comes with accountability or with structure or a mirror. And that's okay. It's part of learning what we actually need versus what just sounds nice. I love learning, me personally. As y'all know, listening to my podcast, every episode is a reflection moment and a growth moment of being better than we were yesterday, because it's all about growth, not perfection. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. You won't always love every version of the growth that you ask for. Sometimes it looks like dating a partner that mirrors all your negative traits back to you for you to actually heal through that. Sometimes it's accepting a job that pays well but makes you miserable for you to actually find your passion. But at least you know how it feels. You'll know what's for you and what isn't, and that kind of clarity is priceless. You can't buy that. But before we wrap up, I just want to remind you, you are not a victim to life. Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. And every single decision you make, even the ones that feel confusing or messy or off course, is still a step in the right direction, because truthfully, there is no right direction. There are infinite ones. And whichever path you take becomes right the second you walk into it with intention. You're not falling behind. You're not doing it wrong. You're just evolving. You're just a human being and you're learning every single day. And every experience that you have had up to this point, whether it was good, bad, or everything in between, or a whole shit show, has shaped you into somebody powerful, grounded, and capable of more than you have ever realized. That is the beauty of life, y'all. So the next time you find yourself spiraling and beating yourself up or replaying negative things that someone told you, I want you to remember who you are and how far you have come through all the experiences that have shaped you. You are not the villain. You're not a victim either. You are the vision, and the vision keeps getting clearer every single day, right? So if this episode hit for you, share it, post it, tag me, tell me your favorite line. I love hearing how these conversations land for you. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening and growing right alongside me. And as always, don't forget to follow, rate, and share this podcast with someone who's ready to stop surviving and start designing their own version of success. I will see y'all next week with the same energy and new elevation. Bye.